You know when you get yourself into a position and you know you want something different, but you just don't know what exactly that is? Maybe you've been following the signs that have been occurring around you, or you've been putting in the work. How your life has been going is not how you want it to continue to go. So you've been So you've been putting in the work to learn new skills, to be a better version of yourself. And you just can't commit. Maybe it's just me. I just can't commit, man. I've been on this awareness kick of what I always thought was true isn't so much the case. And I've been learning a lot. I've been learning a lot about myself, about my limiting beliefs, about different ways that I grew up that I thought was like the only way life was, because that's what I grew up with. That's everything that I've ever known. And I've had everything come together, maybe come crashing down, if you will. Call it a tower moment if you're into tarot. And we're right back into this same circle. It's been a couple years now of me trying to figure out what it is that I want. I don't have like a clear picture of what it is I want, which is funny because back when I used to tattoo, the guy that I was apprenticing under was like, don't give anybody more than 3 options. Like, if they tell you what they want, draw up 3 different options, but don't give them any more than 3 because they get overwhelmed if you have more than 3 options. And that's exactly what has been going on with me. As overwhelmed is like a weird word, but it's just like, I don't know. I don't know, because I've always spent so much time working and doing what I knew how to do, that I just, there's so many options out there. There's so many different opportunities. And I know for a long time it was the fear of putting in effort and time into something that once I got it, I wouldn't be happy with it. That's exactly what happened with doing hair. It was something I wanted to do since I was 8 years old. And a few years ago, I've had my license for 10 years now, and I opened up my own shop. And within a month or 2 of having this studio, I absolutely fucking hated it. It was like a jail. It was just, and it was so disappointing. And that's really what kickstarted me into realizing, especially after COVID, all these people who had remote jobs, it was like, well, that's what I want. I want to be able to work from the computer so that I can go wherever I want, because these 4 walls, seeing the same 4 walls every day, felt like a jail cell. So that's the mission that I've been on. I have spent everything that I've made in these different processes of learning how to make money on how to make more money in a different way, because it just wasn't, it just really wasn't what I wanted to do. It wasn't. And some of the things that I do, I've been sitting at the computer for over 4 to 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day. And I'm like, this is for the birds. Like, I like to be doing something. I like to use my hands. I like to create stuff. If I wanted to do hair, it's because I'm a creative. I like to create. I like to do stuff. I like to build stuff. And throughout my income journeys of learning how the rich become richer, because that's how you learn how to make money, is to read and learn about how those who made money make money. Their big thing is to not trade your time for money, which is really hard to do doing hair. Like, hair doesn't get done unless you're spending time on it. Hands in the mix until some weird ass AI comes around. But it's not even that, because I kind of threw a little tantrum whenever I was a month or 2 into my studio, which I had it for over a year, and I'm still doing hair. There was a different route that I could have taken. I could have expanded. I could have hired on people, taught them what I knew, and expanded the business. At the time, I was a little worried. I just really didn't want to have the responsibility of teaching somebody how to do what I know how to do. Not that what I know how to do is just like beyond amazing, but I've got some experience. It was the leadership. It was the responsibility of another person. This is the same thing for not wanting to have kids. Like, I don't want to be responsible for if I fuck them up or if I don't, so, and then I had this epiphany the other day. And the whole reason I wanted to get into hair, like, at 8 years old, I had been playing with my cousin's hair, and I made some funky little updo bit on her. I was like, that's what I want to do. And I go through hair school, and they had a program. They had a creative editorial program, and I was all for it. And I didn't get picked. And, back then I had balls. And so after they had maybe one or two little rendezvous, whatever they did in the group, I went to the instructor who was running it, and I was like, can I just be an assistant? For whatever reason you didn't pick me, so can I just be an assistant to everybody? And she's like, well, you didn't turn an application in. I was like, oh, I did. It was just during main class while we were, and she's like, oh, I remember. And, right now I'm just sitting here thinking about Legally Blonde and how she used a pink gel pen that smelled good. And I'm like, damn it, if I would have only stood out more. And maybe, you know what? Maybe that's kind of a vicious cycle is, I've lived so long not wanting to be seen that I've always kept myself small. I've kept myself, kind of on the back burner, not being too loud, but not being too much myself in case it offends anyone. And it's, so fuck it. I don't know what the fuck I want to do, but right now we're on the verge of, we're gonna have to have the faith in something. I really, recently I've really gotten into dreads, making dreads, synthetic hair. There's some really cool stuff that you can do that. But again, you gotta trade your time for fucking money. You gotta take the time to make the creations of the hair. And it's, as you go, you get a little bit faster, but I don't know. I guess beyond talking to y'all, that's what I'm gonna start doing because it's fun. And I like to create. So, I guess there's that, but faith over fear, man. Getting over my fear, chatting with y'all, and having faith that I won't run out of money before all my bills start piling up. Action steps. Who knows? I don't know, man. There's a lot going on with this because it's trying not to get too woo-woo while also keeping the balance. If you know anything about 3D and 5D, it's energetically matching to your desired outcome, along with taking the steps to create that outcome. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit pig-headed, and so my stubbornness, I'm realizing my inner story, and I'm realizing how much I have created without even realizing it, doubts, little step backs of how, oh, well, that's not gonna work, but without, actually saying it. And so this is what I'm working on now, and to really have that faith, so when I'm attempting to catch myself whenever I'm in these little spouts of not believing that it's possible, or that, miracles can't happen, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm reading a book right now, and it's pretty far out there, but it was recommended by a mentor of mine who is just knocking life out of the ballpark. So, it's hard to deny. And in the same aspect, life is just an experiment, so why not try? The chokehold that I've had for so long, I'm giving up on that because that doesn't work. I'm not going for what people say, business ideas that people sell, that you can make so much money doing this, because you still have to put in the effort. And if you don't want to do that, if you're not interested in the work that you have to do to make the money that they claim you can make, then you're never gonna make the money. I don't know why that was so, I spent so much money. I don't know why it was so hard for me to understand. Like, which it was all new. I mean, granted, it was all new. It was new skills, and you don't know until you try. And so I tried, and it's just maybe not this time. But honestly, everything that I got into, like, it all can come back around to, I learned stuff, is what I'm trying to say. And those skills that I did learn can all work together in whatever this is, whatever comes about in the next few months, or year. I mean, whatever. Life is fun. So here we are in this toddler phase, in this reborn meat suit, trying to figure out life with all these new ideas and knowledge and ways to go about it. Pretty much just need to simplify. Really, like, tap into what it is I want to do. I want to play. Like, I really want to play, and I really want to do hair, and I really want to make these hair creations, and I want to go, and I want to fucking, like, I want to be at music festivals, and I love motorcycle rallies, and I want to go and have a tent there, and I want to hook up bikers' beards. I do this awesome treatment, like, when the wind can be pretty gnarly on them beards, and so, like, this has kind of been the plan that I've had. And I have a truck now, so I could potentially, but I mean, you got to start small. Like, I see the bigger picture, but between figuring out, really resonating with my worth and me being worth it, and the fact of, just putting that, starting where I am, putting each foot in front of the other. So, whatever. Yeah. So if you see this and you have a booth and you travel around, like, hey, I do hair. I do pretty badass hair. And I would love to have a clothing line. Whatever. You put it out there, it'll come around or it won't. Something better may even come about. So, whatever. But yeah, so faith. Just, if you're having a rough time, if you're kind of going through the motions and you're, like, trying to change things up and it just doesn't seem like it's quite working out for you, don't give up. Keep going. Keep pushing through. I feel like I procrastinated way too long. Sometimes you have to take on the temporary uncomfortableness to further yourself into the desired comfortable. So I think that was a Alex Hormozy saying, like, to get uncomfortable in the beginning so you can have a comfortable ending. Either way, whatever. It's all going to work out. You just, keep trucking. You can do this. We got this. Peace.